Alright, here we go, lesson 3.4 on x and y intercepts. We're going to continue or finish up our work with section 3.4 today that we started yesterday. We kind of did the bulk of the learning actually yesterday, but we're going to kind of put the last pieces together here. Calling this part 2. It's our last video of the week. Hopefully you already watched Edpuzzle 3.4 part 1. If you didn't already watch that one, you're going to need to go back and watch that one first, or this one's going to be pretty tough for you. Alright, stay tuned. There's going to be a few questions for you along the way. All right, we're going to go ahead and start here. We're going to find the x and y intercepts of 3x plus 6y equals 12. This is a review problem from yesterday where we did 3 different problems like this in part 1 of this video. So if you did not watch part 1 yet, it's going to be really hard for you to do this problem. You should go watch that one first and then come back to this one later. But assuming that you already did watch part 1, we're going to split this up. I want you to start by finding the x-intercept. And if you remember from yesterday, finding the x-intercept means that we're going to plug in y equal to 0. So go ahead and start there. Find the x-intercept and enter your answer when you're ready. Alright, let's plug in x equals 0. Get 3x plus 6 times 0, which is just 3x on the left. Divide both sides by 3 here. 12 divided by 3 makes 4, so my x-intercept is 4, or as a point 4, comma 0. Remember, 4 is the x, which I found, and then I plugged in a y value of 0, so that's going to be my y value of the point there. Now that we've found the x-intercept, we're going to go ahead and find the y-intercept, and we can do that by plugging in x equal to 0. Go ahead and find the y-intercept and enter your answer when you're ready. Alright, so we worked that one out. 3 times 0 is 0 plus 6y on the left. So that's just 6y, and then I divide by 6. 12 divided by 6 makes 2. So I plugged in an x value of 0, and I got y equal to 2 as my y-intercept. So if I'm going to write that as a point, x would be 0 and the y value would be 2 for this one. So that's kind of the first step of solving these problems. The second step is being able to put them on the graph. So we're going to start practicing putting them on the graph with our examples today. Alright, so let's look at that same problem, but now we're going to try to graph it. So I had just found the x and y intercepts on the last screen from this problem, and the x-intercept on the previous screen was the point 4, 0, and the y-intercept was the point 0, 2. And that's just from the last screen, just repeating out the work. I did all the stuff and I found 4, 0, and 0, 2. So the first step in graphing a problem like this by intercepts would be to find those x and y intercepts, which I did on the previous screen. Now once I have them, the way I'm going to put them on the graph is I'm going to put those 2 points on the graph, and once I have them, I'm going to connect my line through those points. So I'm going to start with my x-intercept here. And again, the x-axis is the one that goes side to side. So my x-axis is left to right, so I'm just looking at the left to right, and I know the point is 4, 0. So I'm going to count 4 spaces over to the right, and that's the point where x is equal to 4. And I'm not going up and down at all, so the y would be 0 there. Then if I look at my second point, 0, 2, I'm not going to go left or right at all since my x value is 0, but I'm going to go up 2 spaces. And again, hopefully you remember how to plot points, not just from junior high, but also from some of the Desmos activities we did. It was good practice on plotting points. So now that I have my intercepts on there, I can draw, there's only one straight line that goes through both the blue and the red point. And theoretically, I would line it up with a ruler. You'll be doing it on the computer, so it'll be easy to kind of keep things straight for you. My line wasn't perfect here drawn on my tablet, but straight line through those 2 points would be our graph of the equation 3x plus 6y equals 12. It's called the intercepts method. And again, it's a little bit of work to go and find the intercepts, but I actually think it's probably one of the easiest methods when the intercepts come out being whole numbers. It's a little harder when the intercepts come out being fractions. But the reason why you'd want to find the intercepts like we did on our review problem, or like we did all day in that 3.4 part 1 video, is once we have them, we can go ahead and draw them on the graph, just like that. So hopefully you noticed from that last example there, really the bulk of the work in this chapter is all about being able to determine the x and y intercepts and be able to find them, just like we did in the part 1 video. So part 2 is just being able to connect it to the graph, and there's 2 things we need to be able to do. One is be able to draw the graph like we just did on example 1, It's hard for me to really ask questions in an ed puzzle about that, but you'll get good practice on that in the big ideas work. So if you're stuck on the big ideas work for drawing the graphs, make sure to reach out and ask me, and we can set up a time to figure out how to do that. But we also need to be able to, given a graph, find the x and y intercepts, and I actually think this is probably one of the easier questions that you'll get. And so the way this is going to work is it's going to give you a graph. So in a second I'm going to draw the graph on there, and then we're going to determine the x and y intercepts based on that graph. All right, so let's take a look at this graph. Again, the x-axis goes side to side, the y-axis goes up and down. I'm not even going to try to be tricky. That's exactly 4 spaces to the left, that's exactly 3 spaces up. So that one right there is exactly 4 spaces to the left. That one right there is exactly 3 spaces up. Again, you're going to start by finding the x-intercept. We're going to find the x-intercept as a point. So we're going to go ahead and find the x-intercept. Pick the x-intercept out of your answer options. All right, so hopefully you realize we're talking about that blue point there, so it's 4 spaces to the left, because the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis, and our x-axis is right here, the left to right. So that blue point would be the 1. 4 spaces to the left, -4, and not up and down at all, so -4, 0. Next to your left to find the y-intercept, you can probably guess that's the red point. Again, we're going to write it as a point. So go ahead and find the y-intercept and enter your answer when you're ready. So again, that red point is going to be 0, 3, 0 because it's not left or right at all, 3 because it's 3 spaces up, and that'll get us right here to that red point. So that's kind of the last little piece we have to be able to identify it, and I think that looking at a graph and be able to identify where does it cross the x-axis right here, and then where does it cross the y-axis up here. Again, the x-intercept, just as a concept, is that point where it crosses the x-axis. Y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. All right, you made it through your Edpuzzle videos for the week. We're through section 3.4. We'll be ready to start our next section next week. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you're able to complete the Big Ideas assignment now.